Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Fiona and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title, I'm going to tell you the story of when I dislocated my shoulder in China, where I lived for 5 years. So it's Saturday, the 1st of August, 2020. It's very early in the morning. I'm cleaning up, putting away laundry, I've had my breakfast, I just need to shower. I'm wearing a wrap, like a sarong type thing, and it's quite long. I've got on a pair of socks, I'm wearing a vest, I've wrapped my hair, and I'm just, getting my apartment cleaned and ready for the weekend. It's a beautiful day out, beautiful morning, and I already had plans to go into town, to go into the city, pick up some things, go for lunch, and then go back to my apartment to change and go cycling for a few hours. That was my plans for Saturday the 1st of August 2020. So I've already ironed my clothes and I've brought them downstairs. I'm putting a picture in so you can see the layout of my apartment. Beautiful apartment. I absolutely loved that apartment. My clothes are on downstairs. My bathroom is downstairs as well. So I needed to go back upstairs to collect the scissors, and for the life of me, I can't even remember what I needed the scissors for. Just telling this story, I don't even know what I needed the scissors for. But I know that I left them, I remember leaving them on the bed, and I needed to get them for something, maybe to cut something, obviously, scissors, right? So I went back upstairs, picked the scissors up off the bed, and turned to go downstairs, and literally as I put my foot down on the first step, I just started sliding down the stairs from the top of the stairs. I'm holding onto the rail to my right to try and break my fall, and I was probably midway down the stairs, and I put my elbow down, or my hand came down again. I was going to put my hand down to just try and break my fall, and I literally, as my elbow hit the step as I was going downstairs, my shoulder came out. It literally bounced out of the socket, and it was in my chest. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever and probably will ever experience in my life. It was horrific. It was horrific. If there's another word for horrific, that is the word. It was so bad. And I ended up at the bottom of the stairs, and I was screaming and crying. I must have woken everybody up in China with my screaming and crying, and it was so surreal. I mean, the noise that it made when it came out of the socket, I could feel and hear it in my body. If that may sound weird, but if you have dislocated your shoulder and you know what I'm talking about, leave me a comment. The noise of dislocating your shoulder is awful. It's awful. So I'm at the bottom of the steps. I'm probably sitting on the second step from the bottom, and I'm just hysterical. And then I realize I need to get some help. And as you can see from my picture, you can see my bike, and you can see a table that's behind my bike or next to my bike. My phone was on that table. So I had to get from the second step to that table. And what you can't see in that picture is I've got floor to ceiling windows, very high ceiling, floor to ceiling windows, and the windowsill, you can actually sit on the windowsill. And so I had to have a conversation with myself. I had to say, Fiona, you've got to get the phone. You have to get the phone so you can get someone to come and help you, get the ambulance, so you can go to the hospital and they can sort you out. I had to have a conversation with myself. The conversation was, short and swift because the pain was awful. And plus, when the bone comes out, you dislocate your shoulder, your arm, apparently it weighs about 7 kg. It's super heavy. So you're literally falling to the side. It's so heavy, and it's painful and heavy. So I already had my hand and my arm really close to my body in a comfortable slight hunched over position, and I just picked up my elbow and started to walk very slowly to the to the table where my phone was. Picked up my phone, sat on the windowsill, and I'd already decided I'm going to call the insurance company, because the insurance company are going to have all of my details, and once I give them the password and they hear that I'm distressed and I tell them that I've dislocated my shoulder, they'll just send help immediately. So I phoned them. They do speak English, and the woman was asking me so many questions. It felt like she was asking me question after question after question. It just felt so long and unnecessary. And I asked her to please send some help. Please, I've dislocated my shoulder. She just wanted me to answer more questions, and I just hung up the phone because I was in so much pain and so distressed. I just didn't have the energy and the time to be getting it in with her. I needed help. So I'm still sitting there with the phone, and I thought, who am I going to call that can help me? And I remembered that there's the management department in the building downstairs, and I have their WeChat, because we communicate via WeChat in China. And I'm going to send her a message to just say, to send some help. And I literally wrote in my message, please help me, and I will open the door. That's literally all I wrote. Please help me, and I will open the door. And I wrote it in English because in WeChat you can translate. So I then realized I need to unlock the door. So I had that conversation with myself. I'm crying the whole way through, crying and just hysterical the whole way through. So I made my way from the windowsill all the way to the front door, just unlocked the door, and just pushed it open. And then I went back and sat down on that second step on the stairs. I was in so much pain. I can't even explain the level of discomfort. It's just out of this world. Anyway, the lady came to the door. I saw her at the door, and she looked at me and she looked distressed, seeing me distressed. And she's been to the apartment before, and she knows I don't wear shoes in the apartment. And so she took off her shoes before she came in. How nice of her. And then she came over to me. She was sitting to the right of me, and she said that she's going to call an ambulance. She didn't speak English. I mean, little bits of English, and we just waited. So she was really trying to comfort me, and then I thought to myself, let me call my employer, the HR lady from my company, to let them know what's happening. And I pointed to my phone, and she got my phone. I literally just dialed the number. Well, it's already on my WeChat. Just literally dialed the number, or pressed the symbol, the phone symbol, and gave her the phone. And then she just spoke to the HR lady. And then I spoke to her. She put her on speaker, and she just said, everything's fine. Someone that's going to meet you at the hospital, and the lady that's with you, she's also going to accompany me to the hospital. So, at that time when I'm hearing that, it was nice, but I just, you just want relief. I just wanted relief from the discomfort. So we're waiting, and then the ambulance people arrived. There was 4 men. They came right into the apartment. They didn't take off their shoes. And there was 4 of them. 2 of them were at the door, and there was 1 to the left of me and 1 to the right of me. And initially they were just staring. They didn't move, they were just staring. And I'm so distressed, but I'm also thinking, oh, they're here and they're going to give me some pain relief. They're going to, help me to just secure my arm. They're going to do it's going to be fine. None of that happened. No pain relief at all. No securing my arm at all. So I told the man that was to the left of me, I've dislocated my shoulder, please help me. And he asked me what happened, and I said I fell from the top of the stairs all the way to the bottom, and I've hit my elbow and my shoulder's dislocated. And then he said, oh, you've dislocated your shoulder. I just told you that. And when you're in pain and someone's just repeating the things you're saying, come on, let's do better. So the man to the right of me takes something out of a bag, and then opens it up and puts it on the floor, and it's really like smooths it out and it's flat on the floor, like a bag, a body bag type thing. And then he points to me and then points to the floor. And he points to me again and he goes to the floor. And in my head I'm thinking, you cannot be serious. And he points to me, get on the floor. And what he wanted me to do was to get up and lie on the floor so they could each take a corner to take me 16 floors down in the lift. Now, a genius, or not a genius, would tell you that's just foolishness. And I said, I can't get on the floor. There's no way I am going to get on the floor. I have to walk. I'll walk. So I had to have a long conversation with myself, and everybody's just staring at me. They're all staring at me. The lady's comforting me. The 4 men are staring at me. He's picked up his body bag off the floor, and I said to the man to my left, okay, you need to help. You need to lift my shoulder, from the elbow, so I can get up and I can walk, because the weight, I understand it's like, 7 kg? It's really heavy. So I need you to help me. So he grabbed hold of my elbow, and, we got up, walked snail's pace to the end of the corridor, to the lift. The lady, the management lady, she also took my card for my apartment, so and closed the door, so I used its card access entry. And so we waited at the lift was somebody actually got the lift open. So when we got there, the lift door was already open. Got downstairs, and there was a bed on wheel, the beds that they use in the ambulance with the wheels. That was in the corridor downstairs, and they asked me to get on that, and that was so difficult. It's so difficult. It was so difficult to get on that bed because it's so painful. It's so painful. And the weight that you're carrying. So got on the bed, they wheeled it to the ambulance, which was just outside, and just getting the bed on the ambulance was so uncomfortable. They were so inconsiderate. They were just so inconsiderate. I'm so sorry I have to say that. They really were. Again, no pain relief, no support was given, nothing. So we take the journey. I went to Ningbo First Hospital, and it felt like forever. The hospital, in a car, it's probably about 25 minutes, I think. Yeah, I think it's about 25 minutes in a car. On the train, it's a lot quicker. But it felt like forever just to get there. Got to the hospital, and it was COVID times at that time as well. I didn't have my mask on. I was absolutely drenched in sweat. I was sweating so much. I was stressed, sweating, crying, just in so much pain. So at the hospital, they did the whole taking the temperature thing. Then a doctor, he was the surgeon actually, he came out, he just was there already looking at somebody else and dealing with someone else, and he came over to me and he spoke English. And he said, I'm gonna just come back, just give me one moment. Then they moved me into a room on the same ground floor. So in that hospital, when you go into the hospitals in China, you have to register, and they take your blood pressure and your temperature, and then you all have to go and pay, because you have to pay for your treatment. Even if you have your card, which I have an insurance card, you need to take the card there to the desk. No one's going to see you until you do that. But I had someone with me, and they took care of all of that. So they took me to a room. I had to get off that bed. Again, no mindfulness. And they asked me to get on another bed. Then they told me to get off that bed to go into a wheelchair. Then they wheeled me back to the kind of near the entrance and asked me to get on another bed. I really got to the point where I wanted to scream, can someone just fix my shoulder, please, please. I don't want to see another bed, and I don't want to be in another wheelchair. So I'm on this bed, they wheel the bed into the emergency room, and the surgeon asked me what happened. I told him. He then said, okay, you need to lie back, because I was sitting up holding onto my arm, just not wanting to move, wanting it to be back in place, but not wanting anyone to touch me and anyone to move me. And I was just frozen because it was so excruciating. And I said, I can't move, I cannot lie back. And he said, you have to move, you have to lie back so I can help with your getting your shoulder back in. So I partially leaned back, I wasn't completely lying back, and he had my arm and he was trying to manipulate my arm to go back into the shoulder, and he said, you need to go all the way back. So as I was close to hitting the back of the bed, and he raised up my arm, and my shoulder, the bone went sunk right back in. If you've ever had that happen, where they put your shoulder back in, it is the weirdest. It's almost like you can feel it and hear it going back in. It's so weird. So there was that relief as well, because that part of the pain had gone. It was still very painful, and my shoulder, I could feel my shoulder swelling. So they got the wheelchair, and he told me that I needed to go and to the imaging department to get the imaging done to see that it was back in place and everything was okay. So they wheeled me there. I had the x-rays done, and because I had an x-ray done before he put it in place. So I have 2 pictures. So I had the imaging done before he put the shoulder back in, and imaging done after. And so I had that done, came back, I'm still in the wheelchair, and he said, it's okay. He said, but you'll have to come back and have surgery. So I already in my mind said, I'm not coming back to have surgery. I just didn't want to have surgery. Not only did I not want to have surgery, I didn't want to have surgery in China. I wasn't comfortable having surgery in China. I really wasn't. And I also didn't feel that I needed to have surgery, although I know that with some dislocations, it might tear, and you might need to have, surgery just to heal that, to repair it, the tear that you have. So he said it was free to go. Got in the car, because the car was there for me, went back to my apartment, the lady was with me, and I told her, I'm fine, I'll be okay. And I just went and sat down. I went and sat down. Actually, I'm missing a part of this story. 2 parts of this story. They didn't give me any pain relief when they put my shoulder back in. Nothing. No pain relief. Nothing. And before I left, they used these really, like bandages. It was the really thin ones. So I literally just looked like I had spaghetti all over me, just wrapped all over me, like spaghetti strings wrapped. Completely useless. So I'm back in my apartment, I'm sitting down on the chair, just reflecting on the fact that I've just fallen down the stairs, dislocated my shoulder, gone to the hospital, had imaging, had it put back in, had imaging again. I've come back, I had no pain relief throughout the whole period, the whole time there was no pain relief. And I'm here in China. What the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? So I just sit there reflecting and just also being grateful, because falls down the stairs can just be, can go a completely different way. And I know that because my friend fell down the stairs and lost his life. So I know that, I'm very fortunate that when I went down the stairs, I was on my bottom going down, and, I was able to maybe the dislocation saved me from falling forward, who knows, but I'm very fortunate. So the 3 things that I had in my mind when I was sitting there is that I need to mop the floor. I'm covered in this string, literally, and I had bits of string in my hair, covered in this string that they're just a makeshift sling. And I'm thinking, no, I need to mop the floor, because those men came in with their shoes. And I need to mop the floor, and then I need to have a shower, and then I'm going to go on Taobao, which is an online site in China, and order some proper slings. That's all I had in my mind. So I mopped the floor, and literally I'm right-handed, so thank goodness I didn't need, I didn't injure this arm. And so I was literally like this, covered in string, and I got the bucket and got the mop, got the Dettol, mopped the floor. It dried because it was very hot as well, and it dried very, very quickly. I had a shower, you know, I had to take off all the string, and I just kept my arm pretty much in this position, and had a shower, threw on something. I had cold compresses in my freezer, thank goodness, and literally I just grabbed my phone, went upstairs, sat on my bed, had the cold compress. I put pictures in of everything, had the towel and the cold compress together on my shoulder, and I was just going through Taobao and ordering some slings. And the slings that I ordered 2 initially, 2 of the same ones, and they arrived the next day, which was brilliant. I mean, it was perfect because I could then feel a lot more comfortable. I got hold of, I think it was the lady gave me the surgeon's WeChat details, and I communicated with him on WeChat. I think it was about a day or 2 after. I didn't go anywhere. And I didn't even speak to anyone. I don't think I even told anybody that I had fallen, because it wasn't even really my mind that I dislocated my shoulder. I didn't tell anybody. And then the next day, I knew that I needed to look at or find a physiotherapist. I knew that I wouldn't probably get what I was looking for in Ningbo, the city that I was living in. So I looked in Shanghai, and I found the clinic. It's called the clinic in Shanghai, and it was just lots of Westerners that work there, really highly skilled people. And I spoke to them. I couldn't go obviously straight away, not only because it was COVID, but also they said that, you know, it's not worth coming straight away. So I booked an appointment. I think it was about a week after my my accident, and from that point on, I was going and having physio in Shanghai every single week. Every week I got on the train, the first train to Shanghai, to go and get physiotherapy. Now initially, for the first month, you're not really doing much, you know, they're just seeing how things are. And I had a lot of swelling. The swelling, and you'll see, you probably can't see it on the picture, but the swelling took about 3 months really for it to go down. It was from my neck to my shoulder, it was really swollen. And so, when I was going to physio the first month, I'm not really doing that much. And then I started to do a little bit each week, to the point where I was then, you know, 4 months in, you know, I was getting exercises. And month 3, I had to get another sling. So I was sleeping in one of my slings, and another sling, which you'll see in the picture, is silver. You could wear it in different ways, and a few months down the road, I was wearing my sling in different positions, as my physio suggested. So I was going to physio and seeing her, wearing my slings. I wore my sling every day. I slept in the sling, one of my slings, for a little while, quite a while actually. I would sleep in one, and then one would be in the wash, so I could alternate. And then I had a ball. I had lots of different exercises as well. And then I would say it was about month 3, I went back to the gym. I was in a sling. I didn't use anything that would affect my shoulder, my arm, or my neck. So it was very light stuff, but it was just being in the gym. Familiarity was really important to me for my healing. And then I found a physio in Ningbo, my city, for my back, my lower back, because the fall was just injured my back slightly, nothing serious. So I was having physio with him. Again, I'll put some pictures in. And I was going to Shanghai each week. And so I was doing physio for just over a year for those injuries. And it's taken me up until, it's taken me about a year and a half, nearly 2 years, for my shoulder to kind of really settle and be back to normal. I didn't have to have surgery, which is really, such a blessing. And I worked really hard with my physio, you know, to make sure that I didn't have to have surgery, because you don't have to have surgery for every injury. You know, and going every week, being consistent with my physio, and also being consistent with the exercise. I was consistent with my exercises because I was desperate to just get my shoulder back to normal. I would do my exercises anywhere, anywhere that I was, I would do my exercises. So I was slowly healing, slowly healing, eating well, exercising, obviously, as I said, still in a sling, wearing my other sling and wearing it in different positions, whether it was here, whether it was there, whether it was out, whether it was, you know, I had different ways of wearing my sling, and just being patient as well. But the whole experience was so just unreal. It was just unreal. You know, the only other injury that I've had on this same shoulder was when, before I moved to China, I was, and I'm living in London, I was training for London Triathlon, and I was 3 weeks out, and I had a crash, and ended up with a hole in my rotator cuff. And sadly, I had to have surgery for that, and that was painful. But dislocated shoulder is another story altogether. But yes, as of now, I'm fine. My shoulders are not, they're even now, but when I do exercises, they're not quite even. And this, my left shoulder, it takes a little bit more time to kind of warm up and feel comfortable. So it's not 100%, more 90%. And so, and again, it will still take a little bit of time for it to heal. But that was my experience, and I survived it being in China. I'm glad that I didn't go back and have surgery, and I did tell the surgeon. I was in contact with him, and I did explain, you know, I'm going to go to physio in Shanghai every single week, and I did check in with him, and he was cool with what I was doing. But yeah, I'm glad I made that decision, and it's all a learning. It's all a learning process, isn't it, when you go through those things and you're a million miles from home, literally. But yeah, that was my story about dislocating my shoulder in China, August the 1st, 2020. Most bizarre and most scary and most overwhelming time of my life. So yeah, if you have ever dislocated your shoulder or anywhere else and you've had a similar experience, let me know in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching my vlog. Thank you. Bye bye.